Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're doing another Q&A video where I take your questions from Twitter and I answer them all in this video. Once again, friendly reminder, we do these Q&A videos every single Sunday, so if you want to be featured in the next one, go down in the description, follow me on Twitter, use the hashtag AskBoss whenever I'm looking for Q&A questions, you might find yourself featured in the next one. But out of the way, let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. Our first question today comes from another GTA Online News, not my friend Kyle, but this is apparently another one who says, will Rockstar allow us to sell our special vehicles in the next update, like the Rocket Voltic? You're already having buyer regret on the Rocket Voltic. Honestly, I feel like we should be able to trade them in since they're just like any other normal vehicle, but Rockstar's super finicky when it comes to this, like Pegasus vehicles, property, clothing. They don't allow us to trade this in. In fact, the only thing they allow us to trade in is the cars. So I don't know why Rockstar, like I said, they're really difficult with that, but I would actually think this would be a pretty good idea because there was a lot of hype around these special vehicles, and yes, they're useful for certain situations, but now that people aren't doing the special vehicle races all that much and that you might be done with the special vehicle work, you might not necessarily have a need for those special vehicles, and selling them could be a great way to earn $1 million or $2 back, which could be nice to prepare for the next DLC, which of course we're all thinking is gun running. So I don't know if that's going to be the case because they're special vehicles and because they're stored in a warehouse. I think Rockstar might opt out of allowing us to sell them, but I still think that is a really good idea, and it is something I wish they would include in the next update. Moving on, we have a question from Pringle Master who says, how much will gun running take to get started? So I've answered how much I think you're going to need for everything in gun running, which I've said is like multiple millions of dollars, 10, 20, 30, possibly even more than that. But in order to get started, in order to get going, you're probably only likely going to need a bunker and then some sort of either like warehouse or facility. So the CEO offices require the office, and then for the finance and felony stuff, it's the warehouses. And then for the import-export stuff, it's the vehicle warehouse. Same with the bikers. It requires an MC clubhouse and then the little like businesses. So I'm going to say anywhere from $4 to $5 million will get you started. That would probably buy you like the low-end bunker and then hopefully one or two of the businesses or however it's going to operate within that militia military system. Now, I certainly don't believe that $4 or $5 million will take you all that far, but it will at least get you started. And it should allow you to basically get things up and running with the gun running stuff. Like I said, I don't think that $5 million will stretch very far into other vehicles or other assets, but at least it'll get you going. So moving on, we have another question from Dan Phillips who says, why are Rockstar being so quiet about the gun running DLC? I know this is very unusual for them. Typically, they provide us with updates, screenshots, newswire articles, potential trailers about what is happening. We haven't heard anything from Rockstar in over 2 months except for one paragraph on gun running. At least that's what they've officially put out. But honestly, it's kind of working for them. By Rockstar being so quiet, they're building a lot of mystery and mystique around this update, and it is getting the community talking. I mean, you guys should see on how much pins and needles people are on waiting for more information. It's almost like them being quiet about it is building more hype than if they were revealing more information, because there's so many questions, there's so many what ifs that aren't being answered that the community is really excited for this. So I think it's a little bit of a strategy. I also think it's because Rockstar is just busy on other products like other games, Red Dead Redemption 2, Bully 2. So I think it's a combination of those things, but I do expect that sometime this week we are going to be getting some new information. Up next, we have a question from Mad Zinga who says, do you think Rockstar will release the trailer before the update or on the day? And I'm not so sure what the Roman numerals are about there. I believe that this time the trailer could come early. So I think there's two scenarios here. I think that this Friday, we're going to be getting some new information on gun running, and the article could be very similar to what we got with import-export, where it's about 4 paragraphs and 4 screenshots, tells us some information, may not give us a release date, it may give us a release date, or that's when we'll get a trailer and they'll give us the release date too. That's one scenario I could see. Or like with the most recent updates, Bikers and Import-Export, they could just release the trailer the day it comes out, which I actually think that might be the case. I feel like for Rockstar, it makes more sense because people will see that trailer and they'll know, oh, this update is out. I can instantly jump on and play it. Whereas when they release the trailer before the update itself, there's that waiting process. And also, Rockstar knows how people like to break down their trailers, and I don't know if they want like all that information being out there super early. early. So I think those are really the two scenarios. We're either going to be getting information this Friday, or we're going to be getting a trailer and hopefully a release date as well, so we can stop worrying about that too, and we can finally get ready and figure out when it will finally be releasing. All right, our next question comes from Toxic Lollipop, who says, do you think Rockstar will add something above the $10 million limit in the Gunrunning DLC? If so, what do you think it will be? So that is quite the stretch, Toxic. Getting into that range is where you start to upset a bunch of people. So the Golden Jet and Helicopter, $10 and $5 million. We know how people feel about those. They don't really love them. The yachts are around $8 million. And the most expensive office with like all the upgrades is around $6 million. So the only thing I could see would be like the most prestigious, the best bunker with all the upgrades possible, with everything maxed out. I could barely see that reaching the $10 million range. That's about it. I don't really see there being any vehicles. Most of the war stock cash and carry vehicles right now are $2 to $3 million. The special vehicles didn't even get close to $10 million. The Ruiner 2000 being 5.7, and you could even make it cheaper by completing the mission. So I don't really see that being an issue with the vehicles being that expensive, but I could certainly see the bunkers being that price, especially with all the upgrades, because the office is, like I said, around $4 million. So if the bunkers start at default by 6 or 7, who's to say you couldn't easily add $3 million and boom, there's your $10 million bunker. Hopefully nothing is that expensive, because I know that is a lot of money to drop on one item, but it's Rockstar. Who knows how they're going to price it? We really just are going to have to wait and see here. Up next, we have a question from Urban, who says, would you imagine Rockstar splitting up gun running into 2 separate DLCs just like they did with Ill-Gotten Gains? I don't think so. I think the reason Ill-Gotten Gains was split up into 2 separate DLCs is because Rockstar had the content made. They had like the 12 cars in total. But I feel like the old generation systems, the Xbox 360 and the PS3, couldn't handle all of that being added at once, which is why they were added into the game in a 2-part update, and they were literally added like 28 days apart, so it was not far from when those DLCs came out. So I personally don't think that it's going to be a 2-part update. I think that with the fact that Rockstar is focusing only on current gen and PC, that those consoles have no issues. So I think that when it does release, it's just going to be one update with a bunch of tunables content that will be released a little bit later on. Up next, we have a question from GTA Slayer. Says, do you think the leaks of gun running are true, going off what we've seen in the past with bikers and import-export? I don't believe that these leaks are true, especially what I've seen recently. I haven't featured them in videos because I really think this guy is starting to go off the rails a little bit. He's making up a lot of reasons why he has this information. He's also contradicted himself on many points, saying like, oh, Rockstar have changed their mind on the type of content that's going to be introduced in the game. That's not how this works. These updates take months and months and years to make. They're not going to change their mind based off of a leak. So I'm discrediting him at this point just based off some of the recent things he said. The leaks with bikers and import-export were from a different guy on this site. I know it's a little confusing, and his track record actually made him legit. He predicted things or knew things and told us that actually was released in the game. This guy has not done so. He's just using the same name and kind of going under the same moniker. But we will wait and see. Like I said, I'm not completely ruling out anything. I think it's just way leaning towards the fake side now than anything being realistically true. Up next, we have a question from Alan, who says, do you think we will have missions in the bunker, just like how we have it in the MC Clubhouse? I hope so, Alan. I think the biker clubhouse contracts are a lot of fun, and they're really cool to do outside of the money-making, like weed farms, methamphetamine labs. They're pretty awesome, and they're like little heist missions, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, I do hope we have some missions in the bunkers. I think those could actually be a lot of fun and could lead to some pretty cool like teamwork activities that get us using the new military content, which I think would be pretty cool. Up next, we have a question from Zahn, who says, do you think there will be non-military vehicles added in the Gunrunning DLC? I certainly do believe so. I think there's going to be a good mix. I think Rockstar, it would be foolish of them to not add civilian variants of vehicles. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a ton like previous DLCs, like Import-Export was all like racing cars and civilian cars. So I think there will be some vehicles here that just have no civilian use whatsoever and are going to be strictly military. But I definitely think think there's going to be a pretty good balance here where if you're not a fan of the military stuff, there's still going to be some okay things for you to enjoy in this update. My personal hope is that Rockstar add a lot of muscle cars, some off-road vehicles, maybe some new trucks, maybe some more retro cars from other GTAs. That would be pretty cool as well. And we've also got another question from Zahn. He's got two back-to-back here. Says, do you prefer the redneck Mad Max style gun running DLC or a super high military DLC? I kind of want a nice mixture of both. That's why I mentioned like the off-roading trucks. I think that could kind of go in like the redneck category. Mad Max Fury Road is like my favorite movie of all time. And there's some pretty unique vehicles in there. Although I would have assumed there would have been more Mad Max vehicles in the special vehicles that were added in Import-Export. But who's to say Rockstar couldn't do something like that in gun running? But I'd also love to see some super high-tech military gear, like railguns, the XM25, military jeeps, military convoys, jets, and helicopters. So in a perfect world, I'd like to see a good mixture of both. More realistically, I think Rockstar is going to follow more of like a military path. I don't know if they're going to try and go off the rails with the Mad Max style, as that's so supremely different from the military DLC stuff that they've talked about. And also the one paragraph they've mentioned on the Newswire really does infer that it's going to be a super high-tech military update. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. That's like the one question I can leave you with. The gun running DLC, do you want it to be more redneck Mad Max style or more of like a super high-tech military DLC? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comment section down below. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.